Happy New Year! We're here with another news roundup. Not another one, actually our first news roundup of the year, and we're so excited to have you listening to this. And we hope you had a great start into the new year, and we also hope that this will be your best year yet, as for ourselves, right? Hi Lalo, hi Andy. I hope you guys had a great... I was going to say it in German because we say like a good... I don't know how to say it in
so we'll go ahead and say it in German.
We'll say it in German.
Einen guten Rutsch ins neue Jahr. That's how we would say it. It's like a fall. What we say is like a good fall into the new year. That's weird, right?
There you go.
Yeah, like no. Anyways,
that's like many beer steins off that one. So you fall into the new year.
Yeah, a good slide into the new year. That's what it is. Okay. Anyways, that we hope you had that. So today, what we kind of came up with is we kind of wanted to touch some trends of 2024 that Forbes discussed in an article that they think will happen, and we're gonna, or Lalo and Andy will share their opinions on it just shortly, because you know that we always have guests on the show, not on the other segments, and they usually go really in depth in these kind of trends and what's happening, and they'll talk to people that can tell them everything about this certain topic. So we decided to just analyze these trends just a bit and kind of a preview of what's to come for 2024. So our first topic is, or first trend that Forbes had analyzed here is digitalization. Wow, that's a tricky word. So it says that big shipping players such as Maersk, MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, oh my God, and others digitized. But something miraculous happened. Boutique shipping companies also digitalized. And in many cases, they implemented their own software systems and tools for their customers. So what do you guys think will digitalization mean this year?
Right. Just a quick blurb and a quick comment on that. I feel this trend is definitely going to happen because I think what you're saying, Anik, is on Forbes magazine, they're outlining 6 different trends that I guess that they're trying to see that it may affect 2024, correct? Is that what you were saying in logistics, right? Okay, so what I'm thinking is, I mean, these are just predictions. These are their thoughts. So I think, yes, I'm like you. Sorry. Digitalization is definitely something that is going to be big, all because of AI and maybe the resurgence of blockchain. I feel that we are more connected, even more so now. So, and yes, we will have guests on our show in upcoming weeks that I'll definitely find one that will talk about this specific topic if we need it to. So yes, so that's just a quick comment, I guess, and without going deep into it, there's no point in it going in deep into it right now.
Yeah, well, and it's just a matter of also converting more and more paper processes into electronic paper, and so it's more companies are going to basically do that. So that's the trend. Hence, whether you're scanning documents and you use it that way, and hence you talked about the blockchain and tagging that, but it's going to significantly reduce cycle times by not having to push hard copy paper, but your electronic paper, if you will, on some of those items, as well as then using data instead of paper.
Yeah. You know what? I hope Germany catches on because I'm getting so much mail there. And none of it is online, and I have to be physically home. I can't see it on my phone or laptop. It's crazy. But anyways, second one, economic headwinds. Wow, we've had a whirlwind with economics, I think. And, there's just inflation is happening. And is it going to stop? Are we going to be better? This one says that more volatility is likely ahead. Volatility. I don't know how to say that word. Is likely ahead in 2024. So what do you guys have to say about this one?
Well, I guess a little later this month, something's going to happen with the Fed. I mean, and Andy has a better comment on it. That's my comment on it. So go ahead, Andy.
Well, it's just, volatility in the market comes from what's affecting your business. And from the indications that I'm seeing in discussions, and of course, people debate this back and forth, but I'm of the opinion at this point that the Fed in the U.S. is going to raise rates, maybe 25 to 50 points in January. If they don't do that in January, I suspect it will be anywhere from 50 to 75 points in February. The point being is that's driving up interest rates again. And when you are a business that you have a purchase order and you're going to somebody that, all right, you've got a purchase order, which means there's a commitment to sell with you, and you have to then go and get the goods. So you want to finance the manufacturing of that product based on that purchase order, because a purchase order is a contract. The scenario there is that interest rates go up. That means that your costs go up, and it eats into the margin or the profit margin that you have. And so that's something that's going to be a negative. So that's volatility. You have to cut back on costs in other ways. So you wind up pulling back on jobs and things of that nature. So what's going to fuel costs? Fuel costs have been coming down, but they still aren't what they used to be. And then the other scenario is, okay, you have the situation in the Middle East. You have Israel and the Palestinians at war. You have still the Ukraine and Russia situation. You have more things with Iran going on, attacking cargo ships as well as tankers coming through the Middle Eastern seaboards over there and whatnot. What does that do? What's going to happen? Things escalate. If there's any type of major military actions, that in itself is going to drive up costs, fuel costs for transportation. Thinking the aircraft, the airplanes, the fuel cost goes up, tickets go up, all that's going to happen. So all that to say in this realm is you better plan for that volatility and supply chain disruption. And the closer to home that goods are manufactured, the better you minimize your risk. Hence, in North America, you got Canada and Mexico, those kinds of things. So, food for thought.
And you know what's funny? Because you guys have an election day coming up too. And guess what? That won't make it any better for you, for any in this country, at least. To be honest, I think that makes everything unpredictable because it's so black and white here. I'm just not fond of it. Sorry, I can't talk much about it. Because I'll get just mad. But anyways, so we're moving right on, and this is also not a good topic. It's a good topic for me. Sustainability. We've seen so much growth in sustainability, or I wouldn't say growth, but so much initiative for change. And I truly think that 2024 will be a very significant year for sustainability, hopefully. I mean, I know it is becoming in Europe. I know the US is also going behind it and trying to make efforts. So, what's your guys' stand? Not going too much into detail because I know Andy has lots of thoughts on this one.
Yeah. Well, again, on my side, it's definitely, like it or not, it's happening, and it's going to be something that we need to deal with. So yes, I mean, is it a trend for 2024? Absolutely. There's no way that we can say it's not, so again, because of that, we definitely will have more people on the show, to talk about this, like we did this past year recently, on the green trade, et cetera. We'll have maybe a panel. In fact, that's what we want to do. We want to have a panel where different opinions are debated or talked about, like a round table. Call it what you want to call it, but have 2 or 3, 4 different voices in the industry talking about it. Again, for or against doesn't matter. It's just good to just talk about it. And that's my goal for 2024, is to have somebody that does that. Maybe you can moderate it, Anik, or whatever, but we will definitely we'll find some people. And anybody listening, if you want to chime in on that, you want to offer your opinion, if you're either practicing or an expert on that, let us know, please, and send us a message or whatever, however you can communicate with us, because we are setting up that episode. So
sustainability wise, I will say you also need to have backups of things. So yeah, you can move down the road of the green energy. Don't misunderstand that I am for the renewable energies. And that's when we're talking about sustainability. That's what people are talking about, is use of that. Where I have the issue is there are panels of folks put together to arbitrarily say your product was manufactured in a green manner or your product was not manufactured in a green manner. And as such, we're going to assess another tax on you or something. The other is to almost shame people into trying to comply, quote unquote, according to what they're saying is green initiative enough versus not. And so I look at it going, there's no reason why you can't have a hybrid of things as we move forward with this. So I just want to use common sense as we're moving forward with this, because it's the more we're finding on all these green initiatives, the more we're finding at this point, it is not sustainable to completely flip over to 100% of the green initiative agenda, and it costs an astronomical amount. To me, I think there just needs to be a balance. So,
yeah, balance. I agree, but still want to live a long life. So we're moving to the last mile delivery, which is a common term in the trade world. Delivering fastly, I assume. But so over the past few years, it says that Walmart, Target, and Home Depot all expanded their last mile delivery options, opting to take over some operations from existing carriers in order to offer services like faster deliveries. This will go into self-driving trucks maybe in 2024, which kind of sounds scary, I would say. So I just want to hear your take. What do you think the last mile delivery will look like in 2024?
I mean, again, a real quick opinion on that is just Amazon capitalized on that and they're doing it. I mean, so when you see an Amazon branded truck delivering stuff, it means they're doing the last mile delivery. So, they get FedEx, UPS, well, not FedEx, but UPS or any other carrier to put it in a distribution or fulfillment center. And then from there, they do the last mile delivery, meaning local carriers, in many cases, branded carry trucks from Amazon are delivering. So Walmart, Home Depot, Target, they're all trying to do the same thing through distribution centers and all that. So whether it's going to be a trend or not, I don't know. I don't know enough about this to be able to comment on that. So sorry, that I have seen though. I rode when we were in San Antonio earlier, last year. There was a Uber driver that says in the mornings he drives all day. That's all he does. An Uber driver in the mornings, most of the morning he contracts with. He didn't want to tell me who, but I suspect it was Amazon, but it could have been any one of. And he goes to a distribution center. They fill up his car. He had an SUV. They fill up his SUV with a bunch of packages, and he does the last mile delivery. So that's how they're addressing this right now. And then he says, and then once he's done with that, because those packages need to be delivered by a certain time in the morning, he's done with that. And wherever he's at, he starts his Uber route. So I can see that happening, but I don't know how much more of that, whether it's a trend or not. I don't know. It's a good idea, I think, but I don't know. That's just
to that point. And Lila, you're hitting on something that's, I guess, a change in the delivery cycles and with companies. And that's this. In the past, you have seen where, the FedEx, the Amazons, the UPSs and all that, where there's something that's going on. is important for those companies that when it's delivered, they are in uniform. They are, an official employee. There are companies now migrating to, even in the Amazon world, probably more than anything, but the Walmarts, the different companies, and Target's like, they are more interested in getting that package delivered on time or where it's supposed to be. And it doesn't have to, they're outsourcing that last mile delivery. So you have all the infrastructure into getting the product, initially sourced, put into the warehouses for pick and packs. You get the pick and pack order going, they package it up, they ship it out, and it goes through their network. And then that last mile delivery is where they're outsourcing that to a less expensive driver, if you will, than their own people. So that's the thing that I see more of that. That's a kind of a culture change versus something like, oh no, it's always got to be somebody in uniform. So it's officially from our company. Consumers at this point really don't care anymore. They're looking at it like, give it to me the least expensive way you can get it and get it to me fast.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah, that is very true. As a consumer. Just kidding. Okay, the fifth one we have here is supply chain resilience. I think this definitely is a trend. I would say, not being expert on this, but it says this includes diversifying suppliers, changing how goods are sourced, and for some companies, just having a plan. Analytics is becoming even more important and will play a big role in identifying potential risks and associated responses. I think we've seen so much happening in 2023, such as forced labor becoming a real huge issue, and getting more intense on CBP being after people and whatnot. So I think in 2024, companies will have much more supply chain resilience, if that makes sense. What do you guys think?
Again, this is one where, I just talked about it, where people are moving away from China, we're moving away from some of the higher risk. That gives you resilience, meaning that it is if something happens, you can bounce back, kind of like a rubber band as you go on down, and it, you hit it, it bounces back into shape. So, yeah, I think that's just a common deal.
Yeah, I think also being proactive really comes hand in hand with this, like getting compliant and taking core classes on it, making sure your employees are trained and they know what forced labor, what the deals are, all of that. So training, I think, really should become a trend in 2024. I know a lot of companies do get trained. I mean, we have awesome customers at Global Training Center that train their employees and people that, there was, I don't even know if I can say this, but there was an instant where someone said, I'm just here to learn. I don't have a job right now, but I'm trying to educate myself so I can be better for a company. And I thought that was awesome. So yeah, I think that should be the seventh trend in this article. Yeah, do we want to jump to cybersecurity? Okay. So cybersecurity, what is your take on that? Is that going to be a trend? I mean, I hope so, right?
This one is probably spot on because of all the different things that are going on. Last year, in a lot of our news stories, we talked quite a bit about like theft and crime, and like, for example, in Christmas, around Christmas time, there was like the delivery drivers that were getting hijacked or whatever, to steal all their packages and all that. But that's physical security. I'm talking about more now cybersecurity. I mean, it's a lot easier to do that than it is to physically run over there and steal something from someone. So I shouldn't say it's a lot easier. It's more accessible, and the gains are a lot bigger, as we have seen when you get ransomed. Companies get ransomed and everything. So, is it a trend? It's a trend that companies should keep on preparing. So yes, that's still going to keep on going. I've seen personally with our training, companies wanting to get more trained on that, especially if they're CTPAT certified. So anyway, even if you're not CTPAT certified, I don't know why or anybody wouldn't want to, obviously secure their data and their access. So I feel yes, it is, and we will definitely also find an expert that we can bring in and talk about this, and not necessarily just in trade as trade relates, but just in general for cybersecurity would be awesome to have. So again, this is a call for anyone that might be interested in doing that. Otherwise, it's not a big problem. I'll find someone. So anyway.
Yeah. Andy, what do you think?
Well, I can tell you that with all the different things going on, I hate to say it this way, but we are vulnerable in many aspects. A lot of companies are, and there has been a concerted effort to lock things down. But from a cybersecurity perspective, the big transportation companies are constantly being hit. I know FedEx, UPS, DHL are constant. Their systems are under attack all the time. And so then you go through, and what's interesting is a lot of businesses have been hacked, but not necessarily directly through their own systems. It's they find another way. And in credit card machines, companies and banks and different things that have the little, when you're scanning your cards and all that, they came in through those types of machines, and that got into, so the data then uploads to the bank. And then guess what? It follows through the bank, and now it's in the banking system, and now it's into something else. And all of that because somebody did not stop and make sure that their hardware of different units has the correct and latest firmware and latest cybersecurity type software. So the point being is, where's it coming back to you? What about these wireless scanners? Well, the RF scanners. What about the cameras that you're looking at? It's wireless, and it comes up. If it's wireless, somebody can try and get in there and hack that. Your own cell phone, believe it or not, has situations, and those things go on. So, yeah, cybersecurity is going to be a big thing in 2024. And I think it's just going to be, it's a shame, but it's a fact of life that we have to deal with.
Okay. Well, this wraps up the trend episode of 2024, the first one. And we're so happy that you spent your first day with us. Maybe it wasn't the first day, but maybe it was your first podcast of the year. So anyhow, anywhere you listen to us, we're grateful. And we hope you have an awesome year, awesome 2024. And we will see you next Monday. Thank you, guys.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Bye.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you very much for joining us. Simply Trade is brought to you by the generous contributions of Global Training Center. You can follow the show and GTC on LinkedIn or Twitter and other social networks. Make sure you check out the show notes in the description for a full rundown of today's show with all the important links. Also, make sure that you share this with a friend and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. We really like hearing from you. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to rate and review wherever you listen to this podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest in the show, or would like to sponsor Simply Trade, or suggest any topic you would like for us to discuss, please contact us via email at simplytrade@globaltrainingcenter.com, or you can DM us on Twitter at SimplyTradePod. Thank you again for the privilege of your time. Happy trading. Simply Trade is not a law firm or an advisor. The topics and discussions conducted by Simply Trade hosts and guests should not be considered and is not intended to substitute legal advice. You should seek appropriate counsel for your own situation. These conversations and information are directed towards listeners in the United States for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only, and should not be substituted for legal advice. No listener or viewer of this podcast should act or refrain from acting on the basis of information on this podcast without first seeking legal advice from counsel. Information on this podcast may not be up to date depending on the time of publishing and the time of viewership. The content of this posting is provided as is. No representations are made that the content is error-free. The views expressed in or through this podcast are those of the individual speakers, not those of their respective employers or Global Training Center as a whole. All liability with respect to actions taken or not taken based on the contents of this podcast are hereby expressly disclaimed.